Hello everyone, welcome to GS Code. My name is Abhishiekh Saxena. So today, shortly after prelims 2025, we are actually looking at a plan to ace mains 2025. So when it comes to the 2025 examination, we have so much to do. You have the 4 subjects of general studies, essay, a bit on the language papers, and of course your optional. So if you look that the gap between the prelims and the mains examination, we have to cover quite some ground. So how much time will you find for an optional? An optional remains one of the first priorities for a candidate, because in the scheme of examination it spans across 500 crucial marks, while there has been a certain carryover with regards to general studies, because all of you have prepared for the prelims examination as well. But it is the optional which you remember you last touched somewhere around December and January, and it is as part of this tight window that you have to not only cover the optional but also cover it in a manner that you can score marks in the optional. So today I am here to chart a course towards coverage of optional in about 15 days, because in this window you cannot prepare, you can only revise and practice. And to actually ace the mains examination, you will have to develop that mains mindset, rather a topper like mains mindset. So how do toppers do it? Well, as part of my interactions with multiple rank holders, including many of my students of public administration, and through our own experience over the years, both in terms of teaching as well as observers of this examination, which is changing rapidly, at the same time staying the same. So we have devised an approach through which you can effectively cover optional in a matter of 15 days. So let's see more on this aspect. Now, the first thing that we need to make note of is the reality at which we are staring. There are certain facts with us. You have barely 80 days, because the mains starts on 22nd of August. So barely 80 days. Okay? And in that, if you will see, this is both generating a sense of urgency as well as an opportunity. So out of these 80 days, like I said, you will have to cover the general studies as well. And it is not just that you are going to prepare from the scratch. It is more about revision and practice. Practice which shows results. So if you look at this aspect, we'll have to get into the toppers mindset, that what toppers do differently. It is more of a strategy rather than the effort. Everybody, each one of you will pull in maximum amount of effort towards your goal for the mains. But is it blanket running, a rote learning approach, or a proper strategy that matters? That's what makes the difference between the people who finally find their name on that magic PDF and those who end up repeating the examination. Effectively, if you will see, you will need 25 to 30 days for general studies, roughly 15 to 20 days. So I have put it here that barely 15 days, including the man hours, because every minute counts. It's not just any 15 days. So when it comes to the exam, like I said, 15 to 20 days for optional, 25 to 30 days for GS, and rest for your anxieties, practice, mocks, and just brushing over and going over things again and again. And these are the facts. So the mains mindset, starts with the idea of being cognizant, being alive to these facts. Now, if you go further, there are certain truths that we need to be familiar with. We know them, but are we cognizant of them? Will you be covering the entire optional from the scratch? Is that the idea? Or it should be covered? Is that the idea? The answer is no. Because when you see the revision and practice with time, your performance has to increase. It cannot remain plateaued that I have covered this area, but the remaining ones remain vacant. No, it cannot be like that. You cannot have a silo driven approach, which I often call a rail गाड़ी approach, कि पहले एक डिब्बा जाएगा फिर दूसरा डिब्बा उसके बाद जाएगा. This doesn't work like that. This absolutely doesn't at all work. So, if you pay attention, we need a strategy for this. A strategy which is driven by an idea that can sail us through this entire journey and most importantly, cover the optional within 15 days. I'm putting 15 days as a benchmark. Of course, you can take a liberty of a couple of days here and there. But the broad idea is that 15 days it is, no more than that. So this revision and practice has to be aligned so that you witness a constant performance improvement going forward. Now, how do we bring about this? Because all this, seems really good that, we are going to improve the performance, so and so. But how do we actually bring that about? The answer to this problem is the theme management. You see, every time UPSC does not repeat the questions, it repeats the themes. While you have the entire length and breadth of the syllabus, but have you ever consolidated that syllabus in a manner that you can effectively cover that? It is this theme management which can help you cover the entire syllabus yet with certain high yielding points. I'll come to what I mean by high yielding points, because we will have to identify the high value themes in the syllabus, the things that are repeating in the examination, things that are linked, dimensions that often come to questions. And as a part of this theme management is the theme arrangement. We'll have to cluster them so that we can link one to another and develop a holistic understanding of the subject. And as they say that the proof of the pudding lies in eating, what you can make of a learning if you don't validate it. So practice, that is answer writing, is indispensable. But we are not looking at a blanket random answer writing. We are looking at thematic answer writing. We are looking at writing answers to validate the learnings of the theme, to validate the grip on the theme. It is not a lateral exercise wherein you write certain answers, send them for evaluation, you get comments and marks, and you feel good or bad about it. it is certainly a lot more. And effective theme management by grouping interrelated concepts into high yielding themes will actually cut down a lot of slack. It will cut down the duplication, increase the conceptual grip, because through one concept you will learn the linking of the other concept and vice versa. At the same time, the enrichment that is needed, the value addition, the updation that you require, that you do, because for last couple of months or 3 months you have not been in touch with current affairs, but you might just need some sort of a refresher dose with it. Align it with your optional, and especially a dynamic optional like public administration demands that. So the PYQ enrichment part as well as the current affairs and answer writing has to be worked in and around this theme management. They all have to plug in to this particular theme management idea. This is a philosophy, this is a strategy to help you navigate the maze for the mains examination. Now, what do I mean by theme management? It's been repeated quite number of times. So if you see, theme identification is very important, and if you'll see this visual, there are certain tools that you will have to use to identify the themes. Of course, you have the syllabus as the base, but merely the UPSC syllabus is not enough. You need to have the micro details of the syllabus, which you will find on our website on the public administration's page. So once you have that micro details, you can use the PYQs to actually plug onto those very micro concept or set of concepts. And once you have done that, then you can enrich using current affairs and bring in the clusterization of concepts, and this will make up for a theme. Okay, there are 2 questions which are there for you, and these are the PYQs. Of course, I know the micro details, so I am indicating through the questions. So the first question which is there on the screen is of 2024, fairly recent, and the next one is of 2019. Read both the questions. The study of public administration must include its ecology. Discuss. Next one, 2019. Public administration is constantly being reinvented because it is contextual. What is a context? A background. What is that background? It is the ecology itself. So if you will break it down, syllabus, we are referring to unit 1, paper 1, and the topic is meaning, scope, significance, because we are putting the question on the meaning, on the very meaning of public administration. And within that, if you will see, the ecological view dominates. So when you look at the various approaches and nature of public administration, you will find the ecological approach, subject matter approach, post-decorb approach. By the way, link this ecological approach with the view of rigs, because rigs will give you window towards CPA. So this interlinking is something that is indispensable. If you are going to just read the meaning, scope, significance, nature in a mechanical manner, you won't ever get the head and tail of it. These 2 questions are absolutely similar. Their DNA is 100% similar. It is the phraseology that has differed. Similarly, the various aspects of public administration have been tested with regards to meaning, scope and significance itself. So what are those aspects? That is how you will make a cluster. Now, if you look further, while this stands as an example that how do we actually form a cluster through PYQs, there are more high value themes. And when it comes to these high value themes, and I'm giving here of paper 1, the units 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 and 12. See the introduction unit. See last decade's PYQs, precisely to be last 9 years. You will find that the NPM, New Public Management, has been asked 10 times. You can fact check me on this. So that makes the NPM as a topic and the linkages in and around whatever has been asked in the examination and whatever has not been asked very, very important. Similarly, if you will look at administrative thought, it is the participative management that has dominated. Also, the valuation of these units. You see, the exam is of 250 marks, but it is set for 400 marks. And out of that, you have to attempt 250. So, if you look at the weightage combined of just unit 1 and 2, you will find that 100 marks out of those 400 are asked. I can give you the precise figures over the last 9 years. 51.67 and 48.33. Almost 100 marks. So these are the insights which will help you cluster the high value themes. Of course, through our series of sessions, approach to mains and multiple other initiatives, we will continue to flag these themes where we'll be tracing the journey from questions to concepts and what dimensions form the part of it. This is just one example. If you look paper 2, Union Government and Administration, because this is linked, okay? Interlinking between paper 1 and paper 2 is very important. Paper 2, the unit of Union Government and Administration. You will find that the Union Government and Administration unit is approximately of 40 marks out of 400. That is a good 10%. And within that, you will find that the questions related to the Prime Minister's office have been asked 4 times over the last 9 years, and related to various aspects of executive, parliament, judiciary, they have been asked 8 times. So out of these 4 times, when we are looking at the PMO, isn't the strengthening of the PMO can be linked through the new public management? Because both of them came through the 80s. Both of them demanded a strong managerial idea. Yes, decentralization was there, but a strong managerial reforms, manager-led reforms. So these crucial linkages can be explored. So when I'm managing the theme of NPM, once I have identified NPM as a key theme, a high-yielding theme, I will have to explore the dimensions and the interlinkages. These are all PYQs, and we can really check through them. So in this manner, we will have to explore, revise, practice and open up the dimensions that are already asked as well as not asked. Now, when it comes to practice, the goal is marks fetching answers. Ultimately, the goal is marks fetching answers. Now, as an individual, you study, you prepare, you go to the exam, and the process that you are looking at writing that answer starts with the basic thing, that is the recall. It's a matching exercise, right? You simply match stuff. What you read as question, does it match somewhere in the syllabus? Right? And this recall translates into, or is dependent into rather, how much you can retain. So the retention part, because then only you will be able to correctly recall. And finally, when you retain something, you recall it, and then you express. Express yourself onto the paper with the compulsions of time and space. With the compulsions of time and space. Okay, Gargi, I will answer that query. Just hang on. With time and space. Now, if you look at the ultimate goal, where each of these things is ultimately boiling down, it is the marks fetching answer. Now comes when you practice, what do you validate? So we are looking at practice as a validation of theme management. Whether we have been able to manage a theme correctly, effectively, ultimately boils down to the practice and the assessment of that practice. So that is nothing but answers. Now what does a good answer shall contain? You should be very clear. There should be clarity. There should be clarity. Then whatever you are writing should have relevance. And the relevance has to be given the commensurate depth. And all of the knowledge, analysis, reasoning that you are pouring into the answer should be structured. You cannot really put a cart before a horse and expect it to move. Really, can you? So that's the moot point, and this entire thing translates into expression or articulation. So when you are managing the theme, what are you checking that theme against when you are practicing the answer? That is the clarity, relevance, depth and structure. Now this has to be binded in such an organic manner that the examiner is compelled to give you marks. And this is what answer writing is all about. It is not an activity. It is not the end. It is the means to an end. That is the marks. Because without marks, there is nothing that we are here for. We are here for marks. So when you do this exercise, you have to be very, very calibrated that the purpose of answer writing is to achieve this, is to validate the theme, that whether you have been able to manage the theme correctly or not. That's it. Nothing else is required. And in a cluster by cluster, just like a piecemeal approach, you can cover the entire optional in a well calibrated yet comprehensive manner. Yes, we will revise the entire syllabus, but what areas are to be given more stress, more impetus? It is this. So that is the process that we are looking at when it comes to the theme management. I'll substantiate it with certain examples. For example, you would have seen many questions on Wilson being asked in the examination, even before in tests. etc. So a standard pattern of introduction for a lot many candidates is what? Wilson is the father of public administration through his essay in 1887, blah, 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 blah. Has that been asked? It's a 10 marker. Do you have that sort of an elbow room to actually talk about who's the father of public administration? Was that asked? Always ask yourself a question, what is asked? And that makes for which I call the context of the question. Wilson might have been asked with regards to political administration dichotomy, or his views regarding public opinion, or his views on the bureaucracy. Why are we writing again and again that it is the father of public administration? If that is not asked, why are we telling that? Because any extra information that might be true, but if not asked, won't fetch you marks. So the clarity, relevance, depth, whether you are making analysis, you are putting order, scholarly arguments or not, that also matters. To which level you are going. So those arguments basically makes answer to 3 questions, that is what, why and how. And if through this you have been able to justify the context or the demand, and you have checked the right boxes of clarity, relevance, depth, structure, making of a very cogent, coherent and very, very compelling articulation, you have written a good answer. But it is not just written a good answer, you have managed that theme well. So therefore, I am stressing about the theme management again and again. Let us look this through certain examples. See, I have taken participative management. Now, if you see the broad areas, administrative thought, behavior and civil society, PYQs have been asked in these many years. Use of scholars like Elton Mayo, Rensis Likhat and Douglas McGregor. And the practical example, Jan Bhagidari, current affairs link. This is just an example. See, we will have to create these theme sheets, identify key concepts, thinkers, PYQs and practice questions and the enrichment point. And through this process of revision, that is thematic, questions and content, you will be able to complete the full circle about the management of a particular theme, Now, take another example. Budget as a political instrument. Okay? Paper 1, financial administration. Paper 2, financial management. And in that, you will see as a political instrument. So, the fiscal tools, that idea is fine. The political analysis, we will have to link with second ARC, FRBM and latest budget announcements. So, that is how you will actually marry all the contents together. Bring them all together so that you cover a theme comprehensively. Add scholar like Aaron Wildavsky, that budget is a political instrument, so that you can provide that much needed theoretical and scholarly touch to your arguments. Further, it is the practice, along with revision. So, it is the key to consolidation and articulation in the exam, because when you will articulate, you will validate. When you will validate, you will find there are gaps, and then you will work to fill those gaps. So, we cannot do a random answer writing. We will have to work whether we are writing good introductions, conclusions and analysis, and convey the best in limited time and words. How about the usage of a figure, a line diagram, a table, a mix and match of points and paragraph? Because this question comes to me very often, should I write in points and should I write in paragraphs? I say you write in Greek and Latin, as long as I can read it and it satisfies the demand, you will fetch marks. Understand, it is not the template approach that works. Of lately, this template approach has been peddled a lot, and that has harmed the students. So a good answer is one that satisfies the demand. There is no template, and I can categorically say that there is no template. A template cannot solve every answer, but the thematic management can solve every question which is pertaining to that theme if you have adhered to the process, which we try and do it as part of our sessions, our efforts. Now, if you look, it is like I said, the score is what that matters. A good theme management would lead to a good score, so that you can achieve conceptual depth, interlinkages, as well as the coverage in that very limited window that you have of 15 to 20 days in the interim or in the gap between the prelims and the mains examination. Now, coming to certain questions that have been asked. So a friend here is asking that what should we do till prelims result is out? Well, that depends on how you are faring in the prelims. I will consider three cases. One, that you are qualifying, you are absolutely sure. Second, you are the margins, you are on the margins. And last, you are not qualifying. So if you are dead sure that you are qualifying, take a couple of days rest and hit the road. Start building optional. It's been many months you haven't touched that. The first priority should be optional. So do that. Identify these themes. Come to us. We'll help you. Okay? And start working on the themes. Contact us. Get in touch with faculties and mentors, so that we can develop, we can prescribe, a plan that suits you as an individual based on your strengths, your weaknesses. Okay? If you are on the margins and you are still unsure what to do, in that I would suggest two things. You are on the margins, then revise. Start building a bedrock on which you can mount the superstructure. In the next 15 days till the result is out, put the dust off your optional notes, revise, start clustering the themes, because these themes will eventually become useful, right? For those who are not qualifying, and here I am talking about a very unpopular opinion. Don't prepare for mains to begin with. Yes, prepare for mains, but for 3-4 days. After you are over with your sorrows and you are over with your, examination and its aftermath, analyze the prelims. Because this is something that is fresh in your memory right now. You can examine what you did right, what you not did right, and make a dossier for yourself so that you can pick it up in December, January, right? And then start with the mains, because there is no option. Even if we are writing prelims next year, we will have to be mains ready by December, because from January onwards, it is in most likelihood you will be moving towards prelims. So it is mains all the way, but those who are not qualifying can take a window of 4-5 days and they can really work and do their SWOT analysis when it comes to their prelims performance, and then can move on. So I hope that answers your question, Gargi. So I believe that's it for today, friends, and I hope that you have got to the grips of the idea or the approach of theme management and how this theme management approach can actually be of use in the mains examination. If you have any further queries, do ask them in the comment section, and I will be really pleased if you can get in touch with me and come down to the center or through the telephonic conversation. We'll try and help you to the best of our abilities. Thank you.